Imagine a place where an ocean of sand meets an ocean of water. In the vastness of Northwest Africa, there's a nation of incredible beauty and incredibly deep paradox. It's a land of ancient caravanserais, their stories whispered on the desert wind, and a people who are still grappling with the long shadows of the past. This is Mauritania, a nation truly forged in the extremes of sand and sea.
From the silence of space, it looks like a giant watchful eye staring right out from the Earth. This is the Richat structure, or as it's often called, the Eye of the Sahara. For decades, it totally baffled scientists. Was it an asteroid impact, the remnants of an ancient volcano? The truth, it turns out, is maybe a little more poetic. It's a natural dome of Earth that, over millennia, eroded away, revealing these perfect concentric rings of ancient rock. It's like a geological masterpiece that just perfectly captures the sheer scale and mystery of Mauritania.
And to really understand this nation, we have to start with the land itself. Because here, maybe more than almost anywhere else on Earth, geography is destiny.
Just think about that for a second. 90%. This isn't a country that just has a desert. This country is the desert. It's a world of vast, sun-scorched plains, rocky plateaus, and these endless seas of dunes that move like silent golden waves. It's a landscape that has always dictated the terms of survival. And yet, even against this backdrop of pure austerity, life finds a way. Along the Atlantic, you've got some of the world's richest fishing grounds, creating this ribbon of vitality. And then deep in the interior, hidden oases emerge, almost like emeralds in the sand. For centuries, these were the lifeblood that sustained those legendary caravans trading in gold, salt, and knowledge.
For centuries, this was known as the land of Chinguetti, and cities like it, they were so much more than just rest stops. They were like lighthouses of Islamic scholarship in a sea of sand, home to these incredible libraries where thousands of medieval manuscripts lie perfectly preserved by the dry Saharan air.
So this geography didn't just shape trade routes, it shaped a people. It created this natural crossroads, drawing different cultures together and forging the complex mosaic that is Mauritania today. A nation standing right at the intersection of the Arab and the sub-Saharan African worlds.
The society itself is this delicate balance of three major groups. The largest are the Haratin, making up about 40%. Then you have the Beidane, who are about 30%. And that final 30% is made up of vibrant sub-Saharan communities like the Pular, the Sanike, and the Wolof, who are mostly found in the country's more fertile south. But these are way more than just demographic labels. They represent a deep and often a very fraught history.
And to understand Mauritania, you really have to get this hierarchy. The Beidane, who have this Arab-Berber heritage, have historically been the ruling class. The Haratin, on the other hand, though they're also Arabic-speaking, descend from the region's ancient inhabitants. And for centuries, they've been locked into a lower, subservient role. It's the very foundation of a rigid and pretty enduring caste system.
As you can probably guess, this deep social divide has cast a very long shadow over the nation's modern political story, a story of power, instability, and a long, difficult search for some kind of balance.
Independence in 1960 didn't exactly bring peace. Instead, it kicked off an era of turmoil. The first military coup hit in 1978, and that just set a grim pattern. For decades, power was seized, not transferred. And that's exactly what made 2019 so remarkable. For the very first time in its history, Mauritania actually saw a peaceful transition of power. A fragile, for sure, but really profound symbol of hope.
But just beneath all the political shifts lies a set of these deep, persistent paradoxes that really define modern Mauritania. And it all starts with its economy.
So, on one hand, the country is loaded with natural resources. It has massive deposits of iron ore. That's nearly half of its exports right there, not to mention rich fishing grounds and offshore oil. And yet, despite all that wealth, Mauritania is still one of the world's poorer nations, with a low GDP and a population that's still largely dependent on just subsistence farming.
This gap between what lies in the ground and what actually reaches the people it's stark. But it's not Mauritania's deepest paradox. No, there's a far more painful contradiction, a wound in the nation's soul that has just refused to heal.
Mauritania carries this incredibly heavy distinction. It was the last country on Earth to officially abolish slavery. But honestly, the word abolish is misleading. As you can see from this timeline, it was a promise that was made and then broken again and again. It was outlawed by the French in 1905, abolished again in 1981, And yet it took until 2007 for the act of owning another human being to even be considered a crime.
But laws on paper can't just erase a practice that's been etched into a culture for centuries. Even today, that shadow remains. The 2018 Global Slavery Index estimated that about 90,000 men, women, and children were still living in conditions of modern slavery.
And let's be really clear here. This isn't modern human trafficking. This is something older and, in some ways, much more insidious. It's descent-based slavery, a system where a person's status is inherited, not chosen. It is the absolute darkest legacy of that caste system, where entire families are born into servitude, a reality that haunts the nation even as officials try to deny its existence.
So how does a nation move forward when its past is so present? Mauritania today is grappling with this very question, trying to forge a new identity for itself. The path forward is, well, it's a steep climb. It means healing deep ethnic wounds. It means building an economy that doesn't leave anyone behind. It means nurturing a very fragile democracy. And it means facing the most difficult task of all, dismantling the legacy of slavery, not just in the law books, but in the hearts and minds of its people.
Mauritania, a land of profound, haunting contrasts, of stunning beauty and immense hardship, of ancient traditions facing the fierce urgency of now. It's a nation that is forever bound to the weight of its own history, still searching for the promise of its future.